Hey guys, today I'm going to do a fleet update, show you all my vehicles at their various locations. So we're starting out in my garage at my house, a location that you've seen quite a bit. Here's my race bike that I've showed quite a bit. For now, still got yellow plates, probably not for next year, but more on that later. It has a 2006 through 2010 Gixxer front end with Traction Dynamics AK20s and SBS carbon pads, EBC rotors, so those are really sweet. It's got a slipper clutch, Vortex rear sets, Gixxer rear wheel, 5.5-inch rear wheel, Penske shock, M4 exhaust, Power Commander, I think it's a 3, it's an older one, the Monkey Grip tank pad, which this thing is fantastic. When you sit up on the bike, whew, scary sounds, and you're leaning off, your leg fits right in there and locks in, and so you can lean off with so much confidence. And then when you're hard on the brakes, you don't slide all the way forward into the tank. This thing gives you some extra room, so when you're hard on the brakes, it keeps the weight back farther and not hanging way over the front axle. So that's really sweet. The only things I'm really going to do to this over the winter are get a quicker turn throttle. This one I find that I have to really twist my hand around to get to full throttle, so I'm going to get a quicker throttle and refresh the forks, rebuild the forks myself just because they're leaking. That may be it. Install case covers, which we'll talk about later, but I think that's it. Here's my transponder, lap timer, go for mount obviously. So that's about it for this bike. Next, another bike you've seen before is a 2001 Yamaha FZ1. This is the one I did the how to track prep your bike video on. It's not my bike, it's a friend of mine's. It's for sale. I think he wants 2,500 bucks, and it is a really fun bike. It's really well set up. I don't remember the mileage off the top of my head. I think it's 30-something thousand miles, but I know this owner and the previous owner, and both of them have taken great care of it. It's got new front tire, it's got a top box for the back. It's in really good shape. It's a fun, powerful bike. This stuff is for a 2011 Plus GSXR, which I don't own one of those bikes, but it's for the SV650, and I'll talk to you about why later. These are the forks for the 2011 Plus Gixxer. It's not a rifle. I would not keep a rifle in my garage. This is my daily driver. It is a 2007 Prius, I don't even remember the trim level, Touring, I think. Whatever gets you the 16-inch wheels instead of the 15s. It's been in an accident. It has like 240,000 miles. So it's seen some stuff in its lifetime, but you know, it gets the job done, gets 40 plus miles per gallon on my way to work. So it's a really good vehicle, just about the most boring vehicle on the planet, but it gets the job done, and it is incredibly cheap to operate. Right now it has some dead battery cells as of yesterday. A couple of the cells went bad, so I'm going to be taking the battery out and refreshing that again. And then we have the van, which you've also seen before. It's a 2005 Chevy Express, short wheelbase with a V6, and it's got basically 200,000 miles, and it's still an absolute mess from Houston. I have not cleaned it out well because it just sits in my driveway all the time unless I'm racing, so I haven't really made it around to cleaning it out. But now I'm driving it because the Prius is down for the count. One thing I do want to show you in here are a couple things. I installed a power inverter here. I think it's 750 watt with cables going to the battery. Obviously I have it fused right next to the battery, so in case the positive terminal, you know, rubs through the housing and shorts itself on something, it'll pop that fuse. I'm not going to burn down the van. So that's to power the refrigerator until I get to the track and set up my generator. Not a whole lot else to speak of. There's GB Racing case covers, which I will talk about why I have those later. It goes along with the 2011 Plus Gixxer front end. But that's about it. That's an absolute mess back there. My boots, my sleeping bag, my sunshades, all that stuff. That's it for my house here. I have a mountain bike and a gravel bike too, but those are not exciting unless there are some bicycling enthusiasts. I'm gonna skip showing those. But that is it for the vehicles that are at my house. So there's 2 vehicles at 2 more locations. One of them is not worth showing. The other one very much is. So we'll go to that one and I'll tell you about the other one on the way. So let's head over there. All right, so while we're on our way to the other location, the reason for that newer Gixxer front end and the case covers is Moto America. Obviously I'm a novice racer this year, and you have to be, so to race in Moto America you have to be an expert and you have to have 100 points as an expert in whatever class that you're going to race in for Moto America. And so obviously I'm nowhere near that point because I'm A, not an expert, and B, of course, don't have expert points. So that's a little ways off, but I saw this deal pop up on a complete front end with literally everything: brakes, forks, wheel, everything you need, and it was for a really good price. And so I scooped it up because I'm thinking about at some point in the future doing Moto America. Obviously it'll be at least like a year from now, is the soonest I could do it if I get an expert promotion and have some good point scoring weekends as an expert. So it's a ways off, but it is something that's kind of my dream. And so I saw that deal pop up and wanted to do it because my front end is not legal for Moto America. The front end has to be from a homologated bike, which the 2006 to 10 Gixxer 600 is not, but the 2011 Plus is. And so that's the reason for that front end and those case covers. Both of those things are required for my bike to be Moto America legal. It won't be Moto America competitive because it's a stock engine, but it will be legal. So if I want to be competitive at Moto America, I would need to significantly build the motor. It needs a lot of money dumped into it that I can't spend right now. And so I'm under no illusion that I'm gonna show up and win races in Moto America. Those guys are absolutely unbelievably good riders. Anyway, we're getting close now to the other location where the other car is. I will leave it a surprise until you see it, but I want to tell you a little bit about my background, why I have so many cars and not a whole lot of bikes. So when I was growing up, my dad was an engineer and he did rallying. He grew up as a missionary kid in Africa, and saw a lot of rallying there and got really fascinated in that, and he actually competed in the Safari Rally, which is a WRC event. Him and his co-driver were the first American team to ever finish the Safari Rally. I think they got second to last, but even to finish that race is an accomplishment. It's a brutal race that the WRC actually stopped doing for 25 years and just did it again this year for the first time in 20 or 25 years. Anyway, so I grew up in a family full of people who loved cars and loved working on cars. My brothers all have lots of experience working on cars. They have some fun, fun AMG cars, and used to have Porsches and Audis and stuff. And so I've definitely gotten that love of cars from my family. And so that's been my whole life. I grew up watching Formula One, working on cars, loving cars. And then I got a motorcycle when I very first, as soon as I could. I think I was 15. I had a job, and so I could buy my own motorcycle. And surprisingly, my mom was okay with that, as long as I'm spending my own money. And so I did it, and I've kind of developed an interest in motorcycles since then. But I only did my first track day in 2019, so this motorcycle racing thing is a pretty new development for me. Been doing it for 2 years, whereas I've been into cars my entire life. So this car we're about to see, if you look back on my channel, I did a track day at Heartland Park in Topeka in 2017 with this car, and it broke some things. So this car's been in the family. It's a 2000. and it's been in the family since 2002. So my dad bought it with, I think, 18,000 miles, I want to say, in 2002, and it's now 2021. And so my dad had it until he passed away, and then my brother got it, and then I got it from my brother. And so I've owned it for 6 years, almost 6 years, and my brother had it for 10 years or so, and my dad had it for 4 years. And so it's been in the family for almost 20 years now, which is crazy to me. But it's the one vehicle in my whole garage that I would never sell no matter what. The other vehicles, I have a history of going through vehicles quickly. I buy and sell vehicles all the time, but this one I'm never letting go, never selling that. So the other vehicle is right here. It is a 2000 Audi S4, B5 S4. I have the engine out of it. It's a work in progress, obviously. Here's the engine. I ditched the twin turbos because I kept blowing them up, and I put a single turbo. It's a 62 millimeter turbo. Obviously, it's not done. The wiring harness is just sitting here, not installed, but I got the turbo mocked up, most of the vacuum system done, so just have to iron out a few last minute things with the turbo and work out some stuff with the wiring harness. It's not worth going into detail because nobody cares. Do some more heat wrapping, figure out how to not burn up this wiring harness. The car has the Brembo 18Z calipers, so they're I think it's 345 millimeter rotors. It's been so long now that I don't remember. Here is the interior. Got a GTI shift knob, actually. There's the boost gauge, and if you can see that gauge pod over there, that's for the wideband oxygen sensor. Got a whole stash of parts here for it. Engines, transmissions, intake manifolds, Y pipes. So that is the extent of this vehicle. This is my fun car. The Prius is for driving to work. The van is for hauling the bike. This is for going fast. I don't have a street legal motorcycle, so this is my go fast on the street vehicle. You can tell from the dust that it's been sitting around for a hot minute. It's probably been 2 years since I've driven it, just because there's been thing after thing after thing that's come up. It's taken me a long time to finish it. It now has over 250,000 miles on a B5 S4. It's one of the highest mileage S4s of that era that I've heard of. And it's gonna have, 550 plus horsepower soon with that big turbo on it. So it's pretty impressive if you ask me. Anyway, the other vehicle I have is a 2007, I believe, Mazda CX7. So it's like a two-row SUV, maybe crossover. I guess you'd consider it a crossover, but I bought it with a blown turbo and with the intention of fixing it up, and just kind of ran out of time, so I am having a friend of mine fix it up, and then I'm gonna sell it. But that's not really worth showing. If I can dig up some pictures of when I bought it, I'll throw those up. But it's probably the most boring vehicle that I own, even more boring than the Prius, so not really worth writing home about. But yeah, it's got a blown turbo and a blown power steering line, so those are being fixed this week. Hopefully I'll get it back soon and fix it up and sell it. And then I may be getting another motorcycle. I won't spoil the surprise yet, but it is a championship winning, track record setting former Moto America bike. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited if that works out. I think that's about it though as far as my vehicle situation. So I have the Prius, the van, the SV650, the Audi, the Mazda, and then I'm babysitting the Yamaha FZ1. And then I may have that Moto America bike in a few weeks, but we'll see about that. The oil analysis video is delayed because I haven't gotten the results for the oil yet. Let me know in the comments whether you like these car videos, whether you want to see me work on that Audi, work on the Prius, do a cleanup video on the Mazda. Let me know what you're interested. I'll do whatever you guys want to see. I am a people pleaser, so I'll do whatever you want. But I think that'll about do it for this video. Thanks for watching. I will catch you next week where we hopefully actually do that an oil analysis that I promised.